So I'm just going to talk about surrender, and I'm just going to suggest sometimes it helps to reframe things a little bit. The question would be, who's surrendering exactly when you say you have to surrender your will in your life? Who exactly is surrendering? And to whom or to what is the surrender being made? Those would be the important questions, right, if you were really going to analyze this. Now, Kurtz would say, the first thing, well, the big book says, first of all, we had to quit playing God. So the God, that's a switch, isn't it, is really us playing God in our head. It's the ego. It's this isolated, addictive self. Because if you ask somebody, what do you mean when you use the word I, let's say? Who are you really? People usually don't mean their whole physical organism. They usually refer to this isolated center of conscious attention and volition halfway between the ears and a little bit behind the eyes, which we call ego. It's the self. It's a disease of self-obsession. We're obsessed with this self, this ego. And so we're like cornered animals in a way. We weren't born that way. We were born fully in our bodies who we are, but we retreated into our heads where we hide out. We build a castle with a big moat around it, and it's all well defended. So we're completely, I like the sort of the archetype of the king. It's like we're God or we're king, playing God, playing king. That's the alcoholic addict at the end. That I'm in charge. I'm in charge, and this little citadel that I live in, a castle with my moat around it, that's myself. That's who I identify with as me. And I'm trying to run the whole show from there. I believe the definition of recovery, and I've thought about this for 25, 30 years, recovery is really being conscious. When I think of what's lacking in those meetings out there, they don't have consciousness. They're not fully conscious. To be recovered, what we're going for in recovery is, I want to be conscious. I want to hear what's happening. I want to see what's happening. I want to be aware of my body. And that this little ego is just one part, this little brain. There's all of the rest of who I am. There's the courage you have, your guts, your capacity to love, your heart. Right? There's your sexual charm. There's your physical strength, your stamina. There's your wisdom that comes not from the head, but deeper down. If you have an artistic bent or you're inventive, the creative part. Artists don't live in their heads. True artists that write the great movies, the great songs, the great music. They channel that. That comes from deeper. So who surrenders? The king is going to have to relinquish power. This is one way of framing this. The king's got to relinquish power and surrender to the realm. And the realm is the body. It's all the rest of you. That's who you're surrendering to. If God works for you, that's perfect. That's great, because that language is used a lot. But there's other language that's used too. New pair of glasses Chuck C. I just bought a couple of these for the house if you want to read it. If you want a mainline recovery, I recommend this book, A New Pair of Glasses. He says that to find yourself, yes, that's what we want to do. We want to find ourselves. To realize that whatever it is you're looking for is right here inside you. What you're looking for, you're looking with. What you came here to get came with you. What you came here to get came with you. That's like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. You know, she's trying to get back to Kansas. And then she finds out she was wearing slippers all the time. All she had to do was click her heels and she could have gone back. Of course, she had to go through some tough stuff. She had to throw water on the Wicked Witch and so on. I mean, we've got a tough journey. But everything you've ever wanted to know, you've always known. And everything you've wanted to be, you've always been. That's what one of my early sponsors told me, that the New House in AA, this is a place where you can become the kind of man you've always wanted to be. And there's a little joke attached to that. You already were. It's just that we forget. And then he says something that's astonishing to me, that God is hiding in the last place you'd think to look. We're always looking out there because we're addicts, right? We're looking out there for the fix. If I could get the right car, the right woman or the right man, the right job, enough money, the right clothes, I'd be okay, right? Isn't that it? It's out there. He says, no, it's not. Another sponsor told me there's only one lesson in recovery. It ain't out there. So what Chuck C. says is that he thinks God has a great sense of humor because he's hiding in the last place you'd think to look for it, which is inside yourself. It ain't out there. It's inside you. So this journey, this other sponsor I had told me the longest journey he ever took was from his head, this rigid, self-obsessed ego, from his head to his heart. It was the longest journey he ever took. And that's the journey of recovery. That's the surrender. See, it's another, almost a joke. Who are you surrendering to? You're surrendering to you. It's a trick. It's a larger you, a fuller you, a more complete you, a you that's integrated and incorporated everything you are, the beauty that you are, the uniqueness that you are, the creativity you have. Those dreams you had back when you were a kid of stuff you wanted to do when you grew up, you forgot about it. The dreams are still there. There's maybe a part of you that really wants to be a cabinet maker, or really wants to be a nurse, or really wants to be a physicist. I don't know what it is. Very few people I know in long-term recovery, successful recovery, end up doing the same thing for a living they did when they were using it. So there's some dream inside of you that wants to be rekindled. It's waiting for you. It's who you are. It's your special talent. So then there's another big secret in the back of the book. It's way back of the book. This was Elmo's big book. I'm proud to have it up in the office. Elmo was the founder of New House, 1955. It's an appendix, page 569. This is startling. Maybe you found this. Maybe you've read this. It's startling to me. And again, if God works for you, the last thing I would do would be to suggest anything. Just take this as for what it is. But this is in the big book. It says that, with few exceptions, our members find that they have tapped an unsuspected inner resource, which they presently identify with their own conception of a power greater than themselves. Power greater than yourself is inside yourself. Isn't that a trip?